Hello, so I'm going to do a quick review of the play Equus that I went to see last night at the Broadway Theater here in New York. Equus is running on Broadway. It's been there for a few months and it's closing next month in February. It's the story of a boy, Alan Strang, played by Daniel Radcliffe, who basically sort of has, it's not really a repressed, but it's sort of like his parents argue a lot, and he had some experiences when he was younger with his parents, saying, no, don't do things like that. And, so it just leads to the creation of his own world sort of in his head where basically horses become deified and represent religious figures like, sort of like Jesus and God. But the way he sees them is through horses. And what happens, you find out in the beginning, is that he has blinded 6 horses at a stable that he used to work at. And so then the rest of the play centers around a psychologist, played by Richard Griffiths, and the boy basically just going through their sessions with supporting characters thrown in. The boy's parents making appearances, a girl who also worked at the stable, and the friend of the psychologist, the judge who referred the boy to him, who is played by Kate Mulgrew. And she's the other big name in the cast, and she was, if you don't know, on Star Trek Voyager as Captain Janeway for something like 7 years. Basically, the play is a very sort of serious play. It's a bit dated. The play was presented very well. The staging was really excellent, with the way the horses were done, the masks, the metal masks over the head of the dancers, and the hooves were really, it was pretty cool to see. This is the second time I have seen Equus. I did see it 2 years ago in London, as well, with Richard Griffiths and Daniel Radcliffe, but the rest of the cast was different. And anyway, basically, so my review of the play is that, one, the staging is very well done and well executed. I like the way it's sort of minimalist. The other thing is that we sat on stage. They did build some on-stage seating, sort of like balcony above where the action's taking place, which was really cool. And it was, it's always a unique experience to sit on stage during a show, and this was no exception. And I think it, having seen it from the orchestra section in London and now seeing it on stage here, you sort of gain a greater understanding of the play and of what's really going on, to me anyway, when you can see it that much closer. Overall, I thought the play was excellent. It's extremely well acted. I think Daniel Radcliffe is such a talented and gifted young actor, and it's a bit unfortunate that until now, or getting up soon, he will finally be able to do things other than Harry Potter. But even if you really pay attention to Harry Potter and sort of just take it for what it is, he shows, tremendous acting ability, and you really get to see it in this intensely dramatic role that he plays, Alan Strang, in this play. Of course, Richard Griffiths is always amazing. He was excellent in The History Boys, and he was excellent in this play. He has this sort of commanding emotional sense about him when he's on stage that you just you have to watch him. And he's not overpowering with it. He's, sort of almost introverted during most of this play. It's sort of like the play revolves around the boy's actions and the psychologist figuring out why he did them. But it also is sort of dealing with the psychologist and his personal neuroses and how those, sort of mirror or relate to what's going on in the mind of this teenage boy. From the rest of the supporting cast, they were all quite good. The young woman playing the character of Jill I thought was also excellent. The only person I didn't really care for that so much was the person playing Dora Strang, which is Alan's mother, and that's Carolyn McCormick. And she just, she has a very commanding presence when she's on the stage, but it was almost like I couldn't quite figure out if she was trying to have a British accent or what, and she was sort of a constant emotional level, which was a bit higher than, like, regular, and it's just sort of like she didn't display quite the range that I think would have helped the role a bit. It was sort of always on a high level, sort of very intense. Um, and that was the only thing that I didn't care for all that much. But I mean, she's a seasoned stage performer, and she's not bad at what she does. I just thought that the role should have been interpreted differently. And finally, just as my own personal thing, I don't think this is a play that you should see if you just want to see Harry Potter act, because it's definitely a play that requires a lot of thinking. It's a very intelligent play, and I think that if you go and see it just because Harry Potter is in it and he's naked for 10 minutes is the wrong reason to see the play. I mean,